Yeah, I studied in the film to be a filmmaker in the movie houses when I was a kid. That's the only place I studied. And it's good and bad because, well, when I grew up, you didn't have places where you could study film in this country. There was no, you never, and I come from Vereeniging, it's a small town, and you can't even dream to become a filmmaker. So, but I was a very good artist. I was a cartoonist and an illustrator, and I was doing cartoons for newspapers and magazines, and that was my talent. And my jump came from cartoons to animation, and that's how I found my way into SABC in the television industry. And while I was there doing animation, when the first computers came out where you could do animation, I saw a gap in editing, because editing went from tape-based systems to digital editing, to non-linear. So the other editors who were working in the TV industry and the film industry were reluctant to change from tape-based editing to digital. They thought, it'll never happen. You'll never edit on computers. Ha. But because I came from an animation background, I worked on Apple Macs or whatever it was, I quickly made the jump, and I was like, wow, I couldn't believe that nobody would touch this machine, that nobody would want to edit on this. And because I came from the animation, I was doing stuff already on computers, I quickly made the jump to editing promos for television. That was my way in. But I could work with movies and make trailers from these movies that I loved as a kid. I couldn't believe it. I was so lucky. And I was like, I couldn't believe my lucky stars. And I would spend, they would have to drag me out to SABC, because I would be there till 3, 4 in the morning. And they were like, what are you doing here so late? But I was so passionate. And I did very well in television. And then I spent about 10 years doing that. And then when I turned about 35, I had like a midlife crisis. I was like, wow, I was a bachelor and I had a nice house and a nice car. But then I thought to myself, I've just let my dreams go, because I'm 35 now. I've never made that movie. And of course, like a fool, I just jumped into the deep end with no experience on set at all. And we wrote the script, raised the money, got American actors. It just happened quite quickly. And before I knew it, I had to walk on set to direct a movie. And that was like terrifying, because as an editor, you're working in a closed space, in a studio. You can have a cappuccino, go out, have a chat, come back, carry on editing. Your time is your own. You don't have to deal with a lot of people. And suddenly you walk on set, boom, you've got 100 people to deal with. And people come with their own politics and backgrounds, because they, crew work on other movies. So they have this background, and they know each other or hate each other or love each other. And now you've got to deal with this. And directing is vastly different. It's not only a creative thing. The biggest problem is just dealing with all these problem solving every day on set, because what you're planning to shoot and the difficulties you face every day is what you got to compromise a bit without compromising your story. And you've got to see a gap, and if you see something new that's better than what you thought was there, well, you have to roll with it, otherwise you'll never finish the movie. So yeah, so it's a lot more stressful, and I wasn't ready for it. I jumped into the deep end and I did burn my fingers, but on this movie I was a lot wiser, I was more prepared. And by editing other feature films, I had learned quite a bit. And by spending time on feature films, on films that I did work, helped me to be prepared for this movie. And on this movie, I was very, very well prepared. So it was a much better experience.